What's going on, guys? Xbox Cut. Welcome back to another video. Just want to say before we start the video, I just want to apologize to all of my subscribers, but I haven't been on that consistent uploading schedule. Just had a lot of stuff going on in my life. Haven't really had time to find the time to edit and upload and stuff like that, but I have found some time to read some manga, and that comes with today's topic: my top 3 underrated manga. Let's get right into it. So when I mean underrated manga is what I mean by not really shining in the public eye. So whenever you go to Barnes & Noble, the entirety of the series is just sitting there on the shelf. No one's really looking at it and stuff like that. But it was a series that kind of caught my eye and kind of sparked a little interest in my mind. So with that being said, let's get into the first one. And the first one has got to be the Akira Himekawa Legend of Zelda manga. Not just Ocarina of Time, I'm talking about the entirety of their works because they are a duo mangaka. They make fantastic cohesive stories that are basically just one-shots within the Zelda universe. Ocarina of Time is actually longer, set into 2 volumes, but it's just because if you guys haven't played the game, there is kind of like a halfway point in the game where Link kind of becomes an adult. But that's not to say that Akira Himekawa, they do a fantastic job on the story, the art, the character development, because you guys have to know that Link talks a lot in these manga because you can't have a main character that doesn't talk. He's just a fantastic main character, and it's just insane to see, as a fan of all the games and played a lot of the mainline streamlined games, just to see him talk is just a cool addition of the story and kind of different from the games. And saying different from the games, there actually is a lot of story beats that are different from the games, so it is kind of a thrilling kind of read because you don't really know exactly what's going to happen if you have played the games. They kind of play out a little differently. Yeah, guys, this is one of my very first mangas that I ever read. Not this one. This was one of the very first manga, if not the. This is the very first manga I ever finished reading. I loved it. And even though it's an underrated manga, I definitely think it's a very good beginner manga to read. If you guys are barely getting into manga, I definitely recommend reading these. As a gamer, kind of branched me off into the manga world quite nicely. All right, guys, getting into my second favorite underrated manga. It's kind of going to be a little hypocritical because I don't like horror manga, and if you guys know what that is, it's going to be The Drifting Classroom by Kazuo Umezu. I have all 3 of them. They're collected in these 3 deluxe perfect editions by Viz. The quality is fantastic. What else can I say? But not being a fan of horror manga, this is definitely making me want to like horror manga because I love the entirety of this story. I love the cohesiveness, the way Kazuo Umezu is able to make it a cohesive 10-volume story, because these are all, the entirety of Drifting Classroom is compiled into 10 volumes, single volumes, but they collected them in these perfect editions. First of all, Kazuo Umezu is able to draw just absolute masterful art on the page. If you guys don't know, Kazuo Umezu is a very classic, old school mangaka. Definitely Junji Ito. Everyone knows Junji Ito. I'm not a big fan of him, but he gets his inspiration from Kazuo Umezu, and it's awesome to know that Kazuo Umezu is kind of the grandfather or the godfather of horror manga. And personally, this is the only work that I have by him, but I definitely think that this is an underrated manga just for the pure fact that the art is fantastic. The characters are insane. The kids, you don't think that kids would be as smart as these kids are. It's insane. It's just, it doesn't really break your sense of immersion because it's very immersed in the story. Very, like, at times, there was a part in this where, I'm not going to spoil anything, but they get into a certain arc. They go through a series of certain things in the classroom, and it just leads the kids down a insane path, leading them to think outside their comfort zone. Very great. But what I think is, I always see people in Barnes & Noble skip this over. I've even heard some strong opinions about it, saying that it's bad, saying they couldn't even make it past this first volume. I think that's insane because as soon as I finished this first volume, I had to know what happened. When I finished the second volume, I was already in for the ride at that point. I was already in for the ride after the first volume. And just to hear that people don't really like it as much, it's kind of insane. If you guys like Drifting Classroom, let me know down in the comments of what you liked about it. I understand that there is a lot of plot holes that don't get tied up, but that's the point of a horror manga, in my opinion, is that that's where the scariness comes from, is the thought of the unknown, the thought of something that, like, it doesn't have tight ends. And for my last underrated favorite manga, this is my most underrated manga that I have on my shelf. It's gonna be Drifting Dragons. Shout out to Ramp. This is a fantastic manga. I do not know how people aren't talking about this manga more. There are times in this manga where it rivals the art of Kentaro Miura. I know it sounds insane, but there are some spreads, there are some panels that look damn near close to Kentaro Miura's work. I know it's bold, a bold statement to make, but the other thing that kind of very blew me away about this manga was that the way it's able to balance action, character development, and cooking very well. It does all three of those story beats fantastically. And just to compliment it, just fantastic art. Get yourself a cool cast of characters, a cool band of warriors, a cool thing of cooks, and some badass looking dragons, and you have yourself the Drifting Dragons. I haven't read it to its completion. There is 12 volumes going to be complete in the series. There is 10 out now. I've only read up to volume 6, but it was definitely enough to just, I couldn't stop thinking about it in my head while reading it. I can't wait to make a video about this manga, but I thought I'd throw it in the underrated manga just because I feel like there's a few out there. Do I recommend Drifting Dragons? Without a doubt. I always see the series on my Barnes & Noble, the entirety of the series, the 1 through 10 on the shelves. No one ever looks at it, no one ever checks it out. Yeah, the story is shallow at first. The characters don't have much depth to them at first, but keep on reading, keep on. Just like Chainsaw Man, there's definitely a reason why these characters exist and definitely a reason why the world is what it is. Drifting Dragons is such a good manga. Definitely recommend it. Alright guys, it has been my top 3 underrated manga. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Not as long as my other ones, but I'm going to keep that consistent uploading schedule. I'm going to try to at least. But thank you guys for watching. And if there's any underrated manga you guys know of that are either digital or physical, please let me know down in the comments. Down in the comments is also going to be my Discord link. This time I'm going to make it to where it doesn't expire, so anyone can come back down to this video and join it no matter what. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Later.